This is the Job Stories Podcast, how people find work that matters. All right, Matt. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, dude.
Job Stories Podcast.
Yes.
Plus the person that helps us produce the podcast.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Just to get us started like we always do, if you don't mind, just introduce yourself real quick and what's your job now?
Yeah. My name is Matt Bacnis, and I'm one of the co-owners of Classic 77 Creative Co. We are a content creation and social media management company out in, our offices are in Hermitage, but we serve, well, I guess even beyond Greater Nashville at this point. But we work out here, yeah. And we believe that good content matters, and our goal is to equip people with the best content that they can have, very social-minded content. We see the power of platforms like TikTok and Instagram, and we just know, like, just with a little bit of help, we can help people kind of get the social media content that they need, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, I know you from music stuff, but we do recruiting. And so I now preach to everybody that I run into in our world that, like, everybody needs content.
Yeah, it's
all
crazy.
businesses need content. And I think I used to think in terms of entertainment.
Yeah.
So do you mind to touch on that a little bit? I mean,
sure.
I've seen the growth in our company because of the content that y'all are doing for us.
Oh, that's all. I mean, I love seeing it. You know, I think, and I mean, it all started with music. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like, content creation was a necessity. You know what I mean? Like, when you're playing in bands and when you're helping people, like, you got to have good content. And I think, like, I hit this aha moment. There's, like, it's not just musicians. It's I mean, we work with a roofing company. We work with a coffee stand, you know, all that stuff. And it matters that their content looks good, because at the end of the day, like, your social media is your digital business card. You know what I mean? So it's like,
That's good.
They say 55% of new business is found on social media. So that means, like, more than just walking by a random street sign, more than the television show that you saw. At the end of the day, people are like, they're surfing through Instagram, they're surfing through TikTok, and they're not landing to your website, they're landing to your social media.
That's right.
Which is wild. So that's where, like, all that came from. And, like, that's why we figured out that, like, the content matters. Because, like, if I land on the Instagram and it looks like either outdated or like vacant or anything like that, it's like, is this business closed? Is this band done? Did they break up? I mean, I know there's multiple bands I've told, like, yo, like, been 30 days since a post. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get something going. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Matthew and I, Weld Recruiting's other co-founder, and my brother, we were talking about this the other day, but obviously we can see how people shop through social media, like you shop on Instagram and stuff, but we were talking about, and I think you'll agree with this, people are going to do businesses with posts they see on social media too. Like, not just like, business to consumer stuff, but even B2B. And we've seen that for us. Are you seeing that as well?
100%. Yeah. And it's just always it's about how you're posturing yourself, right? Like, it's like, do you look professional? Do you look like content matters? You know, and I think at the end of the day, like, if I'm a business, like, I'm gonna probably think you're a lot more legit if you're doing something cool with content. You know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, they actually get it. They're actually active. They've got, I mean, you can make a company look 20 times larger than they are if you've got good social media. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got good content, you know, right? Like,
yeah, you see that content, and for some reason, the way our brains work now, at least for me, like, I already trust them for some reason.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And isn't that wild? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did it start for you? What led to Classic 77?
Yeah, again, it came from seeing a need. I think at least how Classic became how it is now came from the idea that, so I had played in bands previously, and I think we had great content. The music was there. You know what sucked was our social media. Like, it was horrible. Like, and it held us back, and I remember one of the guys that was kind of consulting with us coming to us and being like, yo, you guys need to be on TikTok. And this is like when TikTok is popping. Like, yeah, right, dude. Like, I'm seeing, like, we're working with the 615 House right now, and these guys, they got on the platform in the beginning, and, like, it's changed their careers. You know what I mean? And so I think for me, I was like, sometimes, like, artists, they realize, like, how do I say this? They focus so much on the art, and they forget that, like, a band is a business, right? And so I think where we come in is, like, we want you to keep focusing on being an artist and let us take care of the part that's tough on social media, right? And so I think, I mean, the business really started when my business partner, Chase, mentioned that he had some video gear that he was looking, he had a small video wing to his established company at the beginning. And I heard the idea and I'm like, well, cool. Like, I'm already making content. Like, if we just took these cameras, we could make better content, right? And so I, from there, was like, okay, like, how do we figure this out? And we kind of started as like a production company, but then I knew this need for social media was there. And I knew that there was a way to use these cameras in a way that was like, because sorry, and I don't mean to ramble here, but I think that music videos can be vanity projects, right? Like, really, like, as it's like you spend $30K on a music video and it doesn't really bolster your career, right? You're not, there's two different kinds of content, deepening and widening. It's more of a deepening piece than a widening piece. And like for smaller bands, they just need to widen their reach, right? And so I was like, how do we take these cameras and like help people actually with their career? So we rigged up a bunch of the cameras vertically because vertical content is so important. And we started helping bands and musicians, and it's grown from there to businesses. And like you said, that kind of aha moment that it's not just musicians that need the help. So I mean, that's kind of how we started. It was just a couple cameras and then just an idea that like we saw a need in the music industry, and so we're trying to fill it. Yeah.
So here's my plug for what y'all have done for us. Because you mentioned it. For artists, they need to be creating. They need to be songwriting. They need to be out playing shows.
Yeah.
And if somebody else can take care of the content and posting and stuff like that, that takes such a load off their plate. Same for us. As founders of a business, we needed to be Matthew on our team. He needed to be setting up processes to help us scale. Right. I needed to be out, meeting new people, which the podcast helps you meet new people, but I needed to be out meeting new people to drum up new business and things like that. Well, where's the time then to be posting every day? Well, that's where y'all come in.
Yeah.
So y'all take over a very needed part of our business, so now we can do our jobs.
Right.
So that's what I would like to preach on Classic 77's behalf for businesses. In the same way it started for music, you free up time for us to like do our jobs.
Right, exactly. And here's the reality. TikTok is here to stay. It is a large platform. I love it. I think I see the power of it. But the thing is, it's not new anymore. Like, it exists, but there's still true principles that no other platform has. I can tell you this: make 2 to 3 TikToks a day and you will grow. This is not my advice. This is just general. This is how it's done. You know what I mean? Like, and when you're an artist, or if you're a business, small business, and you're trying to wear how many hats, and then when I tell you the only way you're going to grow the largest, most important social media forum that you can have is by posting 2 to 3 times a day, you're instantly going to freeze up and just not do it. Right? Like, and that's where we came in. We're like, listen, it doesn't need to be as hard or as complicated. The content needs to be good, like we're saying in the beginning, but like it can be simple. Like, it's okay to have simple and good content. And so that's like the whole thing right now. It's like, I think businesses should, when they can afford it, have a team do it. Because it's even, that's the cool thing about Classic, is that you're not just getting like one person, you're getting our whole team. And right now, social media, because there's so many, there's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, like, and there's new things like Be Real. You know what I mean? Like, there's artists that utilize Snapchat. There's people that use LinkedIn. I mean, look how powerful LinkedIn's been for you. You know, like, it's that's more than what one person can handle at this point.
That's
like,
right.
it's wild.
That's
you know,
right.
and
that's
so,
what I was gonna say is LinkedIn. Like, to watch y'all's team handle our LinkedIn, multiple LinkedIns. We have our company one. All of our employees manage all of those for us, and that's for companies that do B2B. That's moved the needle big time. Yeah. So that's cool too. I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was on my mind too.
And we're growing. You know what I mean? Like, we are a startup business. You know, I feel like our two businesses kind of have been growing together, which has been really fun. That's cool. And it's like, that's what we love, working with Job Stories. We love working with Weld. We love working with your team and all the people. And I think they can grow. And as we're growing, we've evolved in different areas. You know, like, for example, you're in our new studio right now, and you were in our original spot that was 500 square feet. You know, now we have 5,500 square feet, and like we're growing different aspects, and it's like we're finding that we hear the need. So like we have our recording studio, right? Like, and that came from the fact that like we see the need for podcasting. I think it's such a powerful tool. It's such an obtainable, easy way for people to make content as long as it's done right. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like, I mean, here's my thought is I think basically every artist should have a quote podcast. It doesn't need to be like crazy. It doesn't need to, it can be 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like it can be about whatever you want. But like I said, you go back to the deepening, widening content. It's great to have widening content, viral videos. It's great to have covers and do all that. But if you have deepening content where fans can just get to know you a little bit more, they're going to buy your product more, right? Like, and so that's where my thought is that like, I think anybody that can have a podcast should do it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, the space is saturated, but yes, there's a million musicians. Just make a good, simple podcast, and your goal can just be to have your base, have your business, have your products get to know you a little bit more. You know what I mean? So that's where as we've been growing, when we had the studio, we knew that was a need. So we kind of grew that. We built a photography studio because we want the backgrounds to look cool. So like, yeah, it's just an evolving thing, and content is king right now, and you know we are always trying to figure out where we fit in that. So.
And I heard Chase talk about the upcoming virtual stuff too, right?
Yeah,
start doing like virtual type stuff.
We're trying to use Unreal Engine 5 to like make some backdrops, and eventually we want to like make digital backdrops for podcasts.
So the idea is if you have multiple companies that come to you and say, hey, we'd like to do a podcast. You got us, you got a healthcare company, you got a music company. The idea there is everybody can have their own specific backdrop or whatever.
Yeah, like
it's cool.
You know, like almost like ESP. You know, you're on Sports Center and you see the. You know, imagine if like it looked like we're in your office. You know, what I mean? Like because Unreal Engine 5 is sick.
Could also slap like maybe even some folks could do sponsorships.
Exactly.
That could be cool. Like get some brand awareness on their podcast too.
Yeah, so that's
cool. We're
trying to get there, and you know. We don't know. You know, I think right now we're just kind of learning the technology, right? Like and trying to figure out how to apply it the best. But
if I do, I'm a Nashville-based healthcare startup that just got some funding and need to grow the business and want to do it from a content creation, social media side. I know what all you do for us, but what all can you offer? I know podcasting, social media posts, stuff like that. Do you have like a list you could go through real quick of what you could offer?
Yeah, I mean, I think you would kind of look at the two branches of our business is content creation, social media management. So if you've got already a social media team, that's awesome. Let's equip them with good content. So we can come in and make sure that you've got professional photos. We'll make sure that you've got social-minded vertical posts. You know what I mean? Like we'll make sure that you've got 3 TikToks ready to go at a day that the social media manager that maybe is in a larger company can fire that off. If you're at a point where you're like, I don't want to just have one person do this, I want to have a team do it. You can hire us to run your social media at that point. So I mean, it depends on what route you go. You know, we've got the whole package where it's just like, if you want us to run it from start to finish and come up with the creative for us to make the graphics for you to help, you know, with the day-to-day post to make sure that there's frequent TikTok that will run LinkedIn. We can just do the whole package. Like we've got packages. We'll tailor it to wherever your business is at. And we love partnering with other social media managers, but we also love running it ourselves because we have our systems and we have our people in place and stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, we'll do whatever.
Man, because I know what it's meant for us being a startup, being just entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Like, how do we think we want to scale this thing? What is something we can actively do now, proactively do to like grow this business? I think like I would preach to the rooftops, content, do podcasting.
Yeah.
And y'all have been the ones that have done that for us. So
it's been awesome to see the growth that you guys have experienced with it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's again, like I said, it's so funny to think of, you know, the table that we had set up in our office that was kind of a smaller podcast setup to now. And it's like watching what Weld has done. Just been awesome. Cool, and you guys, I mean, man, you guys are blowing up in the community here too. Yeah. I mean, you know, and like what you guys provide is insane.
I see people in town all the time at just like little networking things that I don't really know.
Yeah.
I know of them. hey, I saw you posting a lot on LinkedIn. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not actually Class 77, but it's just that never happened a year ago, right?
Right.
Because I think we're almost at a year mark for the podcast.
It's
Junk
wild.
Stories is
Yeah.
closed. Yeah.
Which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on. If there's folks that want to reach out to you, either to work with you or like hire Classic 77, how can they do that?
Classic77.com. And from there, you can find anything you need to follow us and find out a little bit more about us. And I'd love to talk to anybody or anybody that just wants advice on content creation. Just like hit us up. Like we do all kinds of just consultation and it's mainly just because we want to meet people. So it's like, just hit us up, shoot us an email. Our website should have all our contact. That's classic77.com. And if you go there, we should be able to kind of take care of you. I want to meet as many people as we can. And like, you know, any friends of Mason's are friends of ours. And I think if you're following this podcast, hopefully that would be a good resource for you guys to use as well.
That's great. So thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Love knowing you, dude.
I appreciate
Good
it.
friend.
Yeah.
I guess tighten up.
Yeah, tighten up.
Yeah.
Yeah.